This is the Tahis Special. This ran in the original race. I don't see it running today, but races. August 14, Elgin National, San Diego Exposition Road Race, San Francisco. 15, it raced in the Vanderbilt Cup, San Francisco. This car raced in the California Raisin Classic in Fresno, at Ascot Speedway in 1916. Also was in the 1916 Corona Road Race, and again at Ascot. Top speed 100 plus miles an hour with the same engine. It qualified at Indianapolis in 1913 and 14. The Wisconsin type T-head like the Stutz Bearcats. Okay, this was built in Chicago, Illinois. Top speed 100 plus. Randy, this is a fabulous history on this car. Can you enlighten us a little bit?
Well, the car was built originally and first raced in 1914. Had its 100-year birthday last year, and it's been a real pain in the butt ever since. So I think it's decided to retire. But I've got the complete ownership history for where it passed through various hands, and it came into my family in the early 50s.
So you've been a great custodian all this time.
I've been the Lord Protector. And it took some protecting because a lot of people wanted to purchase the car and part it out for restoration projects for other vehicles. That was what you did with old racing cars back in the 50s and 60s, because there really wasn't anything that you could do with them. This vintage racing scenario that's going on now didn't really come alive until about 1974 when Monterey opened up.
Right. How is it on an actual racetrack?
It's surprisingly good. Excellent. It's quite a good handbrake. It has no real vices. It's not trying to tip over. It handles like a racing car should. You can hang out the rear tire. I mean, they're worn like a race car, and it's been driven like a race car. And you can slide it around corners. I've run it up the oval track than it is on a road track because it wants to go straight. I raced it at Cajon Speedway out here in El Cajon when it was active, and it was quite a chore. And, when you're on a road course, part of the time you're going straight, part of the time you're going to the right, part to the left. I was surprised at how well the car really handles.
And you've kept it, it looks to be marvelously original condition.
It is original. I don't think that the engine has been apart in a major way since maybe the 20s or 30s.
Really?
Right. I've had the pan off of it to check the bottom end just to make sure that things are sound and it's not going to come apart. I had to make a couple repairs in there. But the cylinders have never been off of it. It's got the original cast iron pistons in it that are drilled full of holes to make them lighter. It has a 5-gallon oil tank in the rear to constantly feed oil into the engine to maintain the level, because it'll go through a quart of oil in about 20 miles. A combination of burning it and leaking it.
Well, now, since you pilot this car at 100 miles an hour, these men were incredible back in their time.
I've never driven the car at 100 miles an hour. I've probably had it up to maybe close to 80, but I've never pushed it all the way.
What's the sensation at that speed?
It's really very stable. This car just tracks right straight down the road with the minimum amount of vibration from the drivetrain, and just handles wonderfully. I've taken it through the corkscrew at considerable speed in Monterey, and it's just a delight.
Wow.
I mean, everything's heavy. The steering is heavy on it. As you can see, it's got a rather large steering wheel.
Yes, it does.
But it's outstanding relative to that.
It's amazing that this car could have done as many races in period and still be intact.
Well, it evolved over the years, numerous configurations of the cars. And it started out, the wheelbase has been shortened approximately 10 inches on it from its original configuration. Originally it had a much more sparse bodywork on it. Originally it had artillery wheels on it rather than the wire wheels. I've got photographs that document different changes. I had an opportunity back in the 50s to talk to one of the old-time race car drivers named Joe Thomas. And he was a factory driver for the Mercer team at the time. And he came out to our home and he visited with us and looked at the car, and he said he remembered the car, he remembered racing against the car, and he says the real problem with the car was the weight. He says it had good power, a good speed, but it was because of the weight, it was really hard on the tires. And if you look at the way the car is, it's drilled full of holes. They probably spent a month, 2 months, drilling holes in everything they could find. They unriveted the frame, the suspension hangers from the frame, and drilled holes in the forgings, and then put them back onto the frame rather than drilling through the frame itself. Wow. The only piece of this thing that is not drilled full of holes is the main frame rails. Right here. Everything else is Swiss cheese. And that was an attempt to cut the weight. And with all that effort, they probably took maybe 15 pounds off it. It's a very inefficient way of lightening things. But that's one of the hallmarks of the car is this Swiss cheese. In fact, when I've had to replace a couple of parts, I had to make a rear view mirror mount for it because it didn't have anything like that. So I got up a nice piece of steel and drilled it full of holes.
Well, it looks very good, and you've done a marvelous job as custodian. As you can see,
back in the years, you know, that was the thing to do with old cars is to restore them. I mean, that was the holy grail. I mean, you just didn't leave a car original. Well, now we've come to realize that originality, if at all possible, is to be cherished. And fortunately, because of laziness and opportunity or lack of opportunity or whatever, it never happened to this car. And so I've been able to maintain it in this condition.